This is February 24th, and this is the Town of Auburn Planning Board, and I'm opening the meeting at 7:10, and the meeting is being broadcast and recorded. Is there anyone in the audience recording the meeting? Okay, so. Yeah. I'd like everybody to stand up and pledge your allegiance to the little flag. See if we can get a bigger one. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So, what do we have?
Just run down our continuances and vote to accept the continuances received.
Okay. Should we read them all? What about this JW Land Development? That's continued too? Okay, we have a number of continuances, and we'll read them and then we'll vote to continue them all at once. All right, the first one is JW Land Development LLC requesting 2 earthfill permits for property on Prospect Street, assesses map 67, parcel 20. Packagug Farms LLC, a definitive subdivision plan for 7-lot subdivision on 71 Curtis Street, Auburn, Mass. Assesses map 20, parcel 14. An application from Welcome Homes, Inc., requesting a special permit for earthfill under section 9.6 of the Auburn zoning bylaws for earthfilling at Elmwood Street, near Gibson Road in Auburn, map 12, parcel 20. That's continued until 3/10/15. Applicant for VNG 310 LLC, Washington Street LLC, requests a site plan approval under section 8.2.3 of the Auburn zoning bylaws for property located at 310 Washington Street, Auburn, Mass, map 42, parcel 8. So, do I hear a motion?
Matt, excuse me,
Go ahead.
what are the reasons for the continuances?
The reason for continuance for JW Land Development is they weren't able to modify their plans in time for the hearing to receive.
But 2 weeks ago they said they would.
They still needed comments from engineering before they could make their modifications. And right now their engineer is away and wasn't able to make the changes in time for the hearing.
All right.
The Packagug Farms needed several things. They needed comments from engineering, they needed comments from the Elm Hill Water District, and we were seeking opinion from town council to connect to the private road.
Yeah, and what we also are looking for a hydraulic engineer too on that?
I think that's part of the engineering.
Engineering?
done by
Yeah, we look at the
town.
hydrology as part of
It's
that.
on that? Yeah, okay. And Welcome Homes?
Welcome Homes was requested to continue to 310 on February 10th.
Okay.
And 310 Washington Street, attorney sent a continuance request to extend it up for another month as their applicant was not ready to, or was not prepared to
Well,
present.
why did they start in the first place then?
I wasn't around when that one happened, unfortunately. I haven't seen that one at all.
310 is the compressed natural gas
Gas
shell.
station.
Okay. I want to do them separate. Do you feel that one, JW Land Development was any part of our responsibility?
They signed a letter to request a continuance that we sent them.
Packagug,
Same.
we asked for the continuance.
No, they requested.
They asked for the continuance.
Correct. Given the circumstances, that information wasn't ready for them to modify plans as needed from our towns and associated.
Okay, so it's
Companies.
partially something to do with us.
Right, correct,
On both of them.
correct.
Welcome
They asked to continue to 310 on February
on
10th.
last
Yes.
meeting. But VNG, if that doesn't, so let's do them separately.
Okay, we'll do the first one. They want a continuance for JW Land Development. Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Second, okay. Any comments? Any questions?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote. Okay, Packagug Farms LLC, a definitive subdivision plan
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion to continue that.
Second.
Second. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep. Aye.
We need 3.
Aye.
Okay, that's passed, okay. Application from Welcome Homes, Inc., requesting a special permit. Once again, they were continued from the last meeting till 3/10/15.
We don't need a vote on that.
Huh?
We don't need
We
to
don't
vote
need a
on
vote on that one? All right, what
Excuse me, call
about?
one more.
Yeah,
Matt, on 310, we're under no time constraints or nothing.
okay. Okay. All right, so we don't need a vote on Welcome Homes. What about 310 Washington? We need a vote on that? All right, I'll entertain
Make
a
a
motion.
motion to continue. to
I'm not gonna
324.
second it.
We don't have 3 votes. Okay, I'll second it, and all those in favor?
Do we, on the comment part, do we need 3 votes to continue this?
This is, I mean, I haven't seen this at all. When's the last time they came over here?
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
vote on it.
No,
They were here
why not?
about, yeah,
I can't vote on it, so you only have 2
He
people.
recused himself
I
from the
recuse
hearing.
myself,
Okay, so we actually can't do anything with that.
so,
It stays as is.
If we can just talk about this quickly, as a board goes, there's an applicant, I think, that came in originally looking for, they submitted their application looking for our feedback. I think we gave them far more feedback than they anticipated. We requested that they go meet with the engineering department. We requested that they do a much more thorough review, including a review of the sidewalks and things of that nature.
the parking.
They requested more time to deal with that. I don't think it's responsible of this board to say that we're then not going to grant them that time.
I'm not gonna second it. I'll vote on it.
I also believe that.
That's been, when's the last time they were here?
Is this December?
It was December, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
They've had
Our
plenty of
December
time.
It's not exactly the best time of year to be doing civil work,
I
but
believe it.
Well, then they shouldn't have applied in the first place.
It may
Okay,
be,
Ronnie.
it may be in the board's interest to send a letter to the applicant explaining that time has taken long enough,
right, okay.
but in order to expect a response to that letter, it may be in our interest to continue this to the next meeting instead of the 24th.
I'll make the motion to continue to the 24th. We can.
I'll second it.
Okay, you can only have 2 votes.
Yeah, that's your motion and second.
Okay, a motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right, so it's not a vote, but
do you need 3 votes?
that's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So,
The procedure was taken.
so put
I will
that-
draft a letter to
Okay,
applicant.
that's tough when you have a couple people out.
Correct.
Okay, so, now, you've got, you want to do these discussions later after these people?
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Yes,
This discussion item is for the
these people?
4 folks sitting right
Okay,
here.
all right,
Before we get into this application, I would like to explain
okay,
for public record how we got here.
okay.
Make sure I have this in the right spot. Okay. Last night, Monday, February 23rd, I received a call approximately 6:20 PM for a representative from the Worcester Community Action Council, correct? All right. Inquiring about permits needed in order to occupy this site on 68 Central Street, the former St. Edmund's Center, now St. Joseph's Parish, for the reason of a preschool, what kind of preschool? Head Start program in Oxford had a facility that was compromised due to the weather, snow, ice, and the students had to evacuate. They are now searching for a location to house these students. If, due to the time-sensitive nature, the state provided a list of vacant, suitable properties to the council, and St. Edmund's Center seemed like a feasible option. Now, there is a time-sensitive nature behind this, as is there is a risk that the preschool may lose its federal funding if the kids are not put into a facility to continue their education. Under the Auburn zoning bylaws, site plan approval from the planning board is required for the proposed use under section 3230 for an educational facility, and is required before the applicants can seek permits from health, building, or other town departments. Since no changes are being proposed to the facility or its impervious surface, I have provided the Worcester Community Action Council with a site plan application form and a waiver request list for their intent to waive the site plan approval and public hearing requirements using the original site plan from 1965 as its reference, as you will see up here. The applicant is hoping to obtain a temporary occupancy permit for the remainder of the school year, that being until June 2015. The applicant has submitted their paperwork this afternoon that I had requested, along with a narrative from both the property owner and the Worcester Community Action Council. The planning board is reviewing this request for waivers today, and the reason this hasn't tripped any sort of open meeting law is because this may be considered an emergency filing. The board can decide on the emergency, if the nature of this application is emergency, once the applicant has made their presentation. Yes, sir.
Okay. So she'll turn it over to them.
Sure.
Why don't you come up, introduce yourselves, and
Seat up here.
explain what happened,
Sure.
and I know you have to find a place for, how many students is it?
My name is Ellen Ganley. I'm the new Director of Development for Worcester Community Action Council, and I just want to start by saying thank you very much to Matt for getting us on the agenda so quickly. I sit before you as a new employee. I'm in my first month with CAC, as well as I'm an Auburn resident, and I'm a parishioner of St. Joe's, so I'm wearing multiple hats, and we'll try and answer questions in all three of those categories. About 3 weeks ago, the program's home at the Woodward School in Oxford suffered roof damage. There was falling tiles and some water leaking into the light fixtures. You've seen it all over the state. It's been a brutal, brutal winter, and we're unfortunately a victim of that. As a result, the town did an inspection and immediately vacated the premises. All of the children were safely relocated to a church next door. Since that time, we've been notified that our lease was terminated. The building is no longer safe or inhabitable. So we have been scrambling to find a home to replace. Presently, there are 81 children in the program. We're licensed for 87. There's 81 in there. In this program, if you're not familiar with Head Start, services low and limited income families. So it's very urgent that we get these children back into some sort of care setting. The families, as any of you with children can attest, you lose your child care, it's a huge burden. You have employment you need to get to. A lot of them are enrolled in school, trying to make better for themselves. So it's a huge inconvenience and burden, and in some cases, they're actually in jeopardy of losing their employment if we're not able to get the child care back on track for them. Thus the urgency, thus the last minute calls, and we've been really scrambling to try and find alternate space. As you can imagine, when you're dealing with young people, the children we're dealing with are 2.9 to 5 years of age, so they're little ones. The state has very, very strict safety guidelines. Their health and safety is utmost importance, and although we're trying to expedite, we likewise are looking for safe alternative locations as expeditiously as possible. So what we have been fortunate dealing with St. Joseph's has been graciously let us tour their facility. It seems like a very good fit, and we're very confident that we'll ultimately be able to get the licenses we need from the state. However, in order to get our state licensure out here, we do need the sign off from the town first. And my understanding is you're our first go-to, and then that will trigger the additional inspections that we need at the state level, at the local level to get the state. As I said, we're presently licensed for 87, have 81 children. We're only looking to relocate 33 here to this Auburn site. We're looking for 3 classrooms. The breakdown would be 2 full-day classrooms, which is an 8 to 4, presently an 8 to 4 program, and one half-day program, which runs 8 to 12:30. Please know that there's a lot of flexibility in terms of our day schedule, should you feel there'd be conflicts. I understand the proximity to Mary D. And the traffic that involves, so if need be, we're very willing to look at having to alter our school day in order to get into the space. The classrooms seem appropriately sized, and we've already spoken with Lisa Wass and Father Bamba at the parish about the inner workings that we would need to do to make them fully compatible for our program. I'm happy to answer any questions, try and address any concerns that you have, and again, just really want to express our appreciation in seeing us so quickly. It is really critically important, especially to these families, that we get these children back into it.
What is your method of transportation? How do the children arrive?
Of the
Privately?
33 that we're looking to locate here, about half of them would be transported via a bus. The remainder would be coming via parent pickup and parent transportation, and it's my understanding that several of the families carpool. Transportation, as you can imagine, is a huge issue, which honestly is why the Auburn site is so attractive. A lot of the families located within the Oxford site are from the Oxford-Webster area. We have found that majority of the parents that we would be relocating here either live or work, so they're heading towards Auburn, Oxford, Worcester area. So this is a very centrally located and would make an ideal, suitable location in terms of parent ease and getting the children to an easy place.
Are there plans to rehabilitate the building that you were in at all? No? Yes?
Where we were in Oxford?
Right.
There had been, and we were in negotiations for arranging for a long-term lease. At this point, that's no longer an option. And we have looked at other sites. At this point, a chunk of the program is likely going to be relocating to a site in Webster, and a portion of the children will be temporarily relocated to the program in Southbridge. So again, we're only looking to bring a portion of the program here.
So like one bus would come each day?
Correct. And right now, the schedule would be like, the bus would probably arrive 8:30-ish and pick the kids up about 12:30-ish. Again, negotiable based on traffic concerns and
And
whatnot.
would any of those on the bus be the later ones that work, come all day?
No.
It would
I mean,
be
how many
half-
parking spaces?
There's 106 spaces.
Okay, so there's
Plenty of
well more
parking.
than parking.
Yeah.
And
We're
the
looking
people
for
that come
about-
aren't really parking, they're probably just dropping
Right,
them off
we're
and
looking for
going.
about 8 dedicated for the day to accommodate staff, and then, probably 15 or so vehicles that would be there for 10 to 15 minutes, bring the child in, and that sort of thing.
In your talks with the church, is there any conflict with them? I mean, for the hours that you want to use?
Nope,
are
and
they
we've
having
looked
any
at,
problem?
presently, Monday afternoons would be the only conflict in
CCD.
terms of when CCD starts. That only runs till the second week in April, so we're looking at, depending on how quickly we can get in, about a maximum about 5 week that there'd be a conflict with that. But we've already discussed with them moving child furniture aside to make room for the older students that would be there for CCD. They've been incredibly gracious and helpful with that.
What are the waivers, Matt?
The request for waivers for the process of site plan approval and the public hearing requirement. And the submission of an engineered site plan revised to fit today's standard.
The rear entrance is two-way, right?
Yeah.
The Central Street entrance is single.
It's one way in.
It's probably a lot safer to use the rear entrance than to take any, chances with the, because I don't know if when the kids would go to CCD, if buses brought them, they went on their own.
Correct.
Kids just went, they got
Right.
there however they got there.
Right.
So,
And the volume of traffic, even at peak, even if all of our families arrived at the same time, is not nearly the impact that you would see up there.
individual
Monday night.
cars, if they want to go out
Yeah.
on Central Street, that's fine. I'm with just the suggestion that they use the
That the
rear
bus
entrance.
use the rear
The
entrance.
bus use the rear entrance, and then it's safer.
The Auburn Police Department had a concern regarding the Arrowhead Street entrance. Right now, it's probably about 9 feet wide.
I measured it today, it's
Yeah.
15 feet
15
wide.
feet wide, and you have snow dunes on both sides.
Yeah.
Those would need to be at least cleaned up.
Clean up.
Town engineer mentioned the same
on Central Street?
And also parking spaces within the lot are covered in snow.
All of them?
One of, not all of them, but
It's definitely much smaller than
right.
usual.
One of the primary concerns they had was the site distance for the Central Street entrance.
Because of snow?
Correct. It likely, it has been examined in 2009, where a proposal to widen that road was brought forward, but the results of that have not been carried out.
There was some huge trees near the bottom there. I think one of them came down.
And right now with the snow, it's even harder to see.
Well, is there any way that they could, you know, request some assistance from the highway department to widen from off Church Street, Arrowhead, to the entrance in the rear?
Could be explored.
Or, you know,
Or
even
if
if
we
you
need to
offer
pay a contract, absolutely.
pay the contract under the direction of the highway department, then it won't be that they're doing it
Sure.
for private interest.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
Was that the
snow
only,
removal?
was that the biggest concern?
just to widen it to a little bit safer situation.
Now, you're gonna be making lunches there too?
The food is presently prepared by the Southbridge Public Schools
Okay.
and delivered to the sites.
Okay,
It's all Serve Safe certified. It's, the children get lunch and snack.
okay.
And we've discussed with the church about utilizing a portion
The
of
kitchen.
the area.
Yeah. And I know that the Board of Health was concerned about a hand washing sink.
Yeah, they're concerned about some of the amenities inside that kitchen to service food for the children. One of them being the sink, a stove, and there's also a vent fan that is uncovered.
Well, it's
Essentially,
nice.
the food comes cooked and it's
so
fully,
they're not
it's
using
fully
the stove.
prepared.
So if they're not using the stove, they don't
No.
need a vent fan probably.
Those are things that I assume would be also further vetted out in the state certification and approval and things like that nature.
Right.
And you work it out with the church.
Yes. Yep. It may be, you know, like a milk delivery and they're allowing us to utilize their refrigerator so the milk
Refrigerator
doesn't
and
have to
stuff.
get delivered every
You'd
day.
have to see our Board of Health girl, and
Absolutely.
then the, whatever is involved in the state.
Yep.
I'd like to read aloud a citation from Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 3, regarding educational uses and our right to govern them. The section of Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 3 states that no ordinance or bylaw shall prohibit, regulate, or restrict the use of land or structures for educational purposes on land owned or leased by the Commonwealth or any of its agencies, subdivisions, or bodies, politic or by a religious sect or denomination, or by a nonprofit educational corporation, provided, however, that such land or structures may be subject to reasonable regulations concerning the bulk and height of structures and determining yard sizes, lot area, setbacks, open space, parking, and building coverage requirements. What that says to me, and there's further case law to support it, that there's no way to put a special permit or a variance or any sort of restriction on this use in any zone in town. The only thing that the planning board can do is review a site plan for safety, dimensional, parking, and any site concerns that might obstruct flow, and that's it.
I mean, in my mind, first of all, this has been a winter amongst winters, and we've all really been victims of that. You know, we're talking about a group of kids here and families and parents that have been inconvenienced, and we have a suitable location that we can help them with, and the state's going to certify that it's safe. In my mind, I consider that an emergency, and I think, you know, we should do what we can to help them. My concern would be if you guys are going to use this as if you decided in June to use this as a permanent facility, then you all request
You'd
to
have
just
to
make
come
sure
back.
you work with the town
Absolutely.
and go through that process. We make sure
Absolutely.
that, you know, if
And
it's
see
considered a
what-
temporary facility,
Yeah.
then also works as a permanent facility.
And
Absolutely.
clear the parking spaces, or work that out with whoever, you know, so that there's an adequate amount to cover what you wanted, you know, 20 or 30 spots. They can probably push it back and do it easily to keep
Yeah.
that. And,
Okay, so what, we have to declare it an emergency first, I would imagine?
Sure, there's, as a waiver request, since we're looking to potentially grant 2 waivers here, any literature that this board is to manufacture and provide to the applicant wouldn't be a condition that is enforceable, like as it would be in a rendered decision for a public hearing. The occupancy permit is one avenue to instill actual conditions that can be enforceable and adhered to.
Right.
However, the occupancy permit that exists for the facility now, issued in 2009, if it were to be modified, not only would these conditions affect our current applicant, but they would also affect the current tenant. So if we were to put any sort of temporary occupancy on it, it would also affect the church.
Negatively.
Right.
As I look at this, I mean, first of all, this is an emergency situation.
Sure.
And we're talking about two groups. One, the church, which has been a good neighbor for a long time, and two, Worcester Community Action Council, which has a good reputation around the area. And I have full faith that you and your team would, try to, work with the town as best as possible.
Absolutely.
As quickly as possible, to get them in there as quickly as possible.
And also recognizing that there are a lot of state regulations and other things of this nature that govern kind of the safety of children, and if this facility wasn't safe for that purpose, I think it's one in one eye.
Yep.
One of the other issues that are concerns that came up from engineering and some other town entities is the existing site plan and how that entrance onto Central Street is, on this plan, a one-way street. There's the opinion of some, one-way driveway, excuse me, the opinion of some members who were around during that time believe that there was some sort of town petition from the neighboring residents to alleviate the traffic that was going on to Arrowhead. And that is why cars no longer use the Central Street entrance as a one-way street, because traffic was diverted to that area.
All right, so they're using it as a two-way street?
Correct.
What about fire apparatuses? No problem getting fire apparatus? Well, we did get something from the fire department.
Correct.
Yes, they were all right with it.
Right.
Okay, so the fire department's all right with it, the police department's all right with it, except for the,
The fire department sent us a memo asking that if the board were to, and it had no objection to granting of the waivers,
okay,
but they also requested that the applicant come to a DCG meeting next week
okay.
to address it with all
All right,
department
yeah,
heads.
That's very
okay. So we're giving the date of the DCG?
If I may,
Yes, you may.
I know that the one of the DPW employees, actually Wayne Woolquist, he works for the cemetery division. So they're in that area. He has seen multiple accidents or near misses at that intersection. It's just very poor sight distance. So I'd be very nervous about continuing the use of the two-way driveway. I don't really know.
Continuing Central Street as a two-way.
As a two-way.
Well, it's just self-done, I think.
Exactly.
Right. There's no signage to.
You can't widen it now. You can't do it now, so if you were gonna continue on after June in any kind of a relationship with them, and being that neighborhoods don't like a lot of that traffic going through, you could work with the church to widen or alter where that driveway comes up, widen it and alter maybe where it comes out, straighten it maybe possibly, so that it would be adequate as a two-way entrance.
Sure.
And then it would eliminate a lot of the use going on to Arrowhead. I mean, I think for this emergency situation, if they can get the road widened from Church to the entrance, two-way entrance in the back, it's okay
Just
for
get the-
those
yeah,
few
get the
months.
snow out of there.
Sure. The temporary use of this facility being until June, the end of June, this board in its determination following proposed granting of waivers would not be able to regulate that. So it would be in good faith that we're trusting the
You
applicant,
have our word.
just stating.
All right, so we entertain a motion to declare it an emergency first.
Do we have, sorry, Mr. Chair, do we have any literature or confirmation from the current owner
The church.
as to the length of term that you're proposing to stay?
I'm not sure if that was,
Or it's just,
enumerated
have
in
you talked to
his-
him?
Yeah, and honestly, I think in the narrative we provided to you, we said the end of June. It's likely to be about the second week in June, but just for the sake of safety and should it not end up being a long-term solution, there would be equipment and whatnot that we would need to move out of the building. So just better to err on the side of longer than we need it than to find out we need it more than we asked for. So
Have you engaged a lease or anything?
we are hoping to meet with him next week to hash
Is
that
it
out.
short term, just to cover June?
Yes.
Now, do you have a minimum number of hours or days that you have to operate this facility?
That we're required to.
Yeah.
I believe our funding requires.
161 days.
Okay, it's so much like a 180-day school day.
Okay.
We have 160 days within the calendar
160?
year.
And so many hours.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Regarding the waiver for public hearing,
Yeah.
I know that the residents for that area have always expressed concern over flow patterns for that area.
Yeah.
The board is within their right to request the applicant to notify the abutters of any decision that happens here today.
Okay. All right, so we're going to declare it an emergency.
That would require a vote.
Okay.
Yeah, make the motion to declare this an emergency situation in whatever language is required.
I'll second that.
Okay, any comments, questions? Any questions from the audience? No? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So vote.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the waivers.
Looking for a motion to approve a waiver for public hearing requirement and site plan approval.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Comments? Any comments from the audience? No? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So vote. So they're gonna get in contact with the town offices?
Correct.
Okay, health, engineering probably? Okay, police?
Yes, we're going to schedule a DCG meeting with
Okay, there's a meeting where they all meet,
Okay.
so you can go in and discuss it with all of them at once, so you're not running around town.
Correct.
We appreciate that very much.
Sure. So the DCG meets on Wednesdays at 10 a.m.
That's tomorrow.
It will not be tomorrow.
It won't be tomorrow. It will be when?
I will be in touch. Maybe we can get a different date that works out for everyone.
Okay,
Get back to you.
great.
Where is the meeting?
Thank you.
It is
very
here.
much.
room.
Yeah, right in this room. And it's at 10 o'clock in the
luck.
morning.
Thank you
Oh,
very,
he'll
very much.
notify.
Good luck.
Really appreciate
Okay,
your
good luck.
assistance. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So,
We can also discuss further how we would like to
Yep,
put together our recommendation
okay,
to the applicant.
all right.
I'll just list items and explain to me how you would like these to be addressed.
Okay,
should they stay?
They don't need to. They can. It's fine. It's just everything we discussed. How can we prepare this in our letter? The one-way access to Central Street.
yep, we have a concern with the one-way access to Central Street. The line of sight has to be opened up
That's
Either-
just
either way.
for snow too.
for snow.
Right.
And both exits probably have to have the snow removed from them. Arrowhead and Central Street.
Well, Arrowhead, I don't know what the exit looks like, but it's from Church down to that entrance. That's the concern, right?
With all the neighbors, right.
That it's only 15 feet wide or 9 feet wide.
Correct.
I mean, the church has had the right to come in and out of here for Mass and CCD forever, and it's been doing so, and it's, I mean, this isn't a high volume of traffic. It's,
Right.
you know,
No,
half
but-
on the bus out of 33 and the rest cars even, I mean, it's just,
And they carpool,
Yeah.
so you
they
have
might, and
a
it's,
few cars.
I'm guessing
Oh, and
the church has done just what it's had to do to get people in and out, and now there's a different use here. They're gonna have to
Yeah.
clean it up a bit.
and have them coordinate it with the school so that they're not arriving at the same time that this place is a zoo.
Okay. So for the access to Central Street, would we recommend that the buses do not enter onto Central Street?
Or exit.
Buses enter or exit. Notification of butters. Would we like the applicant to notify the neighbors of the new use
Yeah.
or not? It's up to the board. Since we waived the public hearing requirement, technically, it's
They don't have to.
not necessary, but the board, if they feel it is necessary.
I don't think it hurts to send a letter to the neighbors letting them know there's going to be this extra traffic
Right.
out there and why.
And why, yeah. Send them a letter saying that they're building,
Short and sweet.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that they're bringing 33 children
Yeah.
up there, most of them, or half of them on a bus, and
Temporary relocation
Temporary
of our Head Start
relocation,
program
right.
due to, unforeseen circumstances.
Structural damage to their existing
Right.
facility.
Would you like this to come from the applicants or from administration?
I think we should send
Yeah.
it because we're
yeah,
the ones. that-
right, we're the ones that did it. Take blame.
Yeah.
Okay. Regarding the temporary timeframe of this, it being June 30th
Yep,
as their last day,
yep.
how would we like to recommend that we receive a full filing if they decide to pursue this sightline?
Yeah, if they plan on extending past June 30th, we want a full filing. You can sell them JB.
That's the thing, when this comes around, those buildings may be an option for them. Okay, fine.
Then they could have 300 people.
Well played.
Standard condition, they must abide by all permits.
Right, right,
Town ordinance,
Right.
state
Right.
ordinances.
right. And coordinate with the Board of Health, explain that the food's brought in, they're not using the stoves, they're not using the vent. They might have to put in a sink for whatever reason.
Okay. I get the sense that when they come to your DCG meeting,
Yeah, they'll
you guys are
discuss
going
all,
to work
right,
on these things.
right.
I think I'm gonna, if it's all right with the board, I almost want to hear what they all have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finalizing this memo.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Joanna, anything on your end that I didn't write down?
The applicant is gonna be clearing the snow off, per
Clearing snow off the available parking spaces.
the parking spaces and at the intersections. Widening where required.
Board agrees.
Yeah,
Yeah, widen an arrowhead if it's insufficient
yeah,
for the buses. I mean, they might have to, they might have to do some removal there and
snow removal,
just,
yeah.
you'll have to ask them to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, they got
Well,
plenty of
they've been
green space
doing,
they
they've
can
been doing
develop. So
the
it's-
side roads with that little sidewalk thing, like Millbury Street blows in every day. So they've been running that sidewalk machine, blowing the snow back out.
Keep putting it in my front yard.
That's all right. At least you can get out of your house. I mean,
Yeah.
that Millbury Street blocks into one lane.
Yeah,
And these
no, I know.
numbnuts come down there with their four-wheel drive, and they think they're on the speedway. They think they're running a Daytona 500.
It's unbelievable. You're coming down Leicester Street tonight.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like
they're
one and a
nuts.
half cars. You
Right.
almost stopped in the snowbank, and they're coming up there with their hind beams on in your face like this.
Yeah.
No, they're the only ones in the road.
And it's
Yeah.
the biggest cars that think they're the smallest.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Man.
And they're probably texting at the same time.
Okay. Would I don't think I would put this on the memo, but would the board like a copy of their lease showing that?
Yeah,
I don't know if we can request it, but I
It
will.
might be good for you to have on record, just to...
on file.
Okay. I will inform the board when the DCG meeting is, and if any of you would like to attend.
Why would, they didn't want to come tomorrow, or you just couldn't get them on? the school?
Oh, no, I didn't even set that up. They weren't sure what was gonna happen to them. So there was no way to know.
So it's not a standing meeting, it's just
As needed.
as needed.
Yep.
Correct.
Now, we have signatures.
Are they right signatures? If we have any of those.
17 Sibley, no?
Should we just wait
Oh,
on those until we have
Do have that.
people, or?
Yeah, okay.
You know, I thought I was ready.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I forgot.
What?
Wendy would be the one signature we're missing on 17 Sibley.
Correct, but we can get that in the office.
Yeah, well, we can, either that or we can let it go till next time.
Yeah, we do have 60-something days too.
Yeah, let's let it go till next time. Minutes from February 10th.
Those are FYIs, we only finished those yesterday.
Okay. Now, what about Sibley? Do they need it signed, though?
Oh, for the Earthville?
Yeah.
I did get information on that, and also distributed the...
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you
Well,
just tell us?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's no, the board would be best suited, because of the case law with Lowe's, to take no action on a special permit, considering all of the earth is being used or moved around on site. And the special permit cannot be used as a precursor to site plan approval, or, if that's the right word. It's it can't be required prior to site plan approval, so if, well, let's just say, you decided to vote no on the special permit, you'd still have to act on the site plan. It's very
Yeah.
confusing, kind of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's clear that the board needs to take no action on the permit.
Okay. All right, so, correspondence. Memo to BOS 5 West Street, alteration layout.
Sure. I sent this out to the board members. John, you had a comment regarding a couple of things that the engineer answered,
Yep.
and,
Bill Coyle did a great job in answering that. I feel very comfortable with
okay. Any issues with the memo I sent out? Any changes you think are necessary?
that response.
Okay. I will give this to the select board tomorrow, and hope that this gets on for the town meeting warrant.
Okay.
Now, did you say, Matt, that the regulations, all that cistern stuff and that from the fire department, that was already approved, the bylaws?
Not yet.
Ask for the town meeting.
There is a joint meeting Thursday, the 26th, between Finance Committee and the Bylaw Review Committee.
I'm not sure.
That's Thursday night. I think it's to address any final comments. But I did put that letter together.
As you said, they did it through someone else other than...
Sure, it's going in as a general bylaw instead of a zoning bylaw. So it doesn't require planning board approval or recommendation.
Is it in it still, like, when it comes up to a subdivision, is it up to the discretion of the planning board to...
Right, and if this does get passed at town meeting, I think it would be in the planning board's best interest to add some language
Yeah.
into our subdivision rules
Yeah.
that reference that section of the bylaw,
Yeah. Yeah,
assume, if it passes town meeting. Just say we cross that
yeah.
when it comes. The board asked me to review if the changes that we recommended over the last couple of years were put into that draft. And I had the red line document from April, I believe.
Yep.
I'm gonna put together.
Yep.
And everything was changed. They made all the changes he asked for. The only one thing that was added that wasn't on there was in regards to the bond, or the surety
Yeah.
for maintenance.
Yeah.
And it was so that the developer, when they're ready to finish their project, they can request half of that posting back, and the other half would go towards future maintenance and repair to that
Yeah, that doesn't
structure.
sound good to me.
And that would be done by the
Now,
town.
what you'd say if the guy's got and he wanted $5,000 bond for every, what, so many gallons?
It was, I think it was 5,000 for every 10,000 gallons.
I don't know, and it's a 20,000 gallon cistern, so the guy, if he puts in 3 cisterns, is gonna have $15,000 of his money tied up for forever.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna cover diddly-do in 20 years. Look at the
Yeah.
road we did over there. We had 30,000 bucks and it was $100 and something thousand to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, in my mind, if the town's gonna put a requirement in, like,
And let
it's
them
the
maintain
person's
it.
responsibility to put it in, but then, you know, if the town accepts it, the town has to accept it, so.
All right. And the board, they did have two hearings where the board could appear and make comment, but there's also this meeting with finance on Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to go to that
There's
meeting,
also
but I
town
had
meeting.
a school reuse committee meeting
Right.
that night.
Right, that's right, we did.
We were discussing selling the buildings
Sure.
or whatever.
So I did give this memo to the bylaw review committee.
Okay.
I don't know if it's on their agenda for Thursday, but if any of the members would like to
All right.
attend and voice their concerns.
What time is the bylaw committee meeting?
It's a combined finance and, I think it's the bylaw committee, and it's 6 o'clock Thursday, the 26th. I believe it's next door, or across the
The
hall.
hall? Yeah. I'll try to make that. Anything else we gotta do?
I sent the memo to the Board of Selectmen for the zoning bylaw amendment. Any concerns with that? Oh, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Okay, I will put that on the warrant. And I just handed out today a letter I sent out to Bell's Lawn and Garden Center that I finished after we did the packets.
Okay.
It was adherent to our recommendations for the waiver of site plan approval
Okay.
granted last week.
All righty.
I mailed it to the applicant already.
Okay.
And you wanted to talk to us about, you're gonna send the card to Wendy.
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be in order. Wendy couldn't come to the meeting, she's in the hospital right now, so I think the board might want to send a card. I can do that. Two other things, real quick. CMRPC is coming here on March 3rd, 10 o'clock. I believe you're planning on attending as a CMRPC delegate.
He's got tenure.
Yes.
March what?
So
March
happy.
3rd at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's in this meeting room. Present at that meeting will be Eric Smith, the lead project manager for this assessment of 61A land. Colin Novick from the Greater Western Land Trust, Deb Carey, Mass Audubon, Michelle Padol, I can't even read that. A representative from the Department of Agriculture.
How
Julie,
many-
myself.
How many acres of land we got up there?
It's
Ton
not,
and a
it's not
half.
just the town on land they're gonna look at, so there's privately owned land too.
Yeah, well, privately owned land is what, could be 200-300 acres.
Where?
Yeah, it was in the,
Off of,
it was in one of the
Prospect
pictures.
Street.
That's, I think it's over 1,000.
Is that 1,000 acres?
Between both, quite possibly.
Up on the top of the hill. Because it's flat and then it's all the drop off down to
Towards Street
Old
Nine?
Oxford Street or
Yeah.
Oxford Street South.
South.
And all in back, Oxford Street South and then going further into Oxford line and tapers down.
Yeah.
And
So it's, well, when we were looking at the school to go up there, they went in there and they were gonna do test borings, and where they wanted to put the building, they went down 3 inches and hit ledge.
But those cornfields are there.
Yeah, they got, yeah, I would imagine it, but there's a
got
lot
some
of
nice
wetlands
loam on
up
'em.
there. There were a lot of wetlands. They had wetlands on the side of the hill. And they did the wetland, and they did the wetland survey with 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Comes out good.
Yeah. And then when the snow melted, it was all wetlands.
The only other thing I have on the agenda is the Alice training dates. That's that emergency protocol meeting for public hearings and how to handle
Is that
a...
the thing we're supposed to do with Ellen?
No, that I was going to mention next.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, I
But the
forgot to do
dates
that
that we're
too.
looking at for this training are March 17th and March 26th. Sent it out to the Conservation Commission and the Zoning Board.
So we have to go to that?
It's in our interest to pick a date that best, which date works best for the board.
And where is this taking place?
It would be in the selectmen meeting room. Those are the only 2 dates in March during that time that don't have anything going on.
And where
What
would
were
it
the
be?
dates again?
17th, Tuesday, and Thursday the 26th.
And where would it be?
Where?
You said in the selectmen?
Yes,
And what time?
In their room, you mean?
in the meeting room, yes.
And what does it consist of?
It's a presentation on how to handle,
Active shooter,
Sorry?
active shooter situation.
yes, It could be
Active shooter situation.
from a disgruntled meeting member to a terrorist-like situation.
Well,
So,
sure.
Keep blocking these continuances, we might have a couple.
So-
What?
We'll talk one-on-one.
They had a training for schools back in November.
I'm not
and
sure about the schools, but the town hall and
Sure.
all the...
What time of day?
This would be in the evening between 5 and 8 o'clock, at a time that's best suited for all three
Third or
boards.
And how long is it?
17th or the 26th. I don't know yet.
26 would be much better for me. than 17.
26th is Thursday.
Thursday. Can we,
Well, it's fine with me.
we say 7?
Sure.
Or
Yes.
And who's conducting this thing?
Sergeant Charlton of the police department and a representative from the fire department. And there's the ethics certificates. Just a reminder to the board to make sure that you give your ethics certificates to the town clerk if you have.
Where do you get that?
There's
You
a-
gotta take the thing on the computer.
That's correct. Every 2 years. So it's been a while, you might be due. And that is all I have.
Yeah, but you only have to do it for one committee. Yeah, I think I've done it for 3, I'm not sure. All right, so, anything else?
I'm all set.
All righty.
motion to adjourn.
Second?
I hear a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's adjourn.